Believe it or not, Tim Duncan never won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Now, there are other names that come up in the argument. Some people say Anthony Davis, some say LeBron James, some say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And you can make a case for all of them. But I'm going to make a stronger case for Tim Duncan. I think that the big fundamental, which Shaq gave him the nickname, I've said he's probably the most disrespected top player I've ever seen. And I stand by that. And when you think he never won a Defensive Player of the Year, he covered so much ground. He really couldn't just get him with one thing. He really beat you in different ways. I think about his game, his athleticism, his ability, guard the perimeter, guard the key. He just really understood it. He had a high IQ, and his defense was spot on. So when I found out he never won it, I'm like, that's a glaring omission. You would just assume that his talent, his depth, his range, his skill set, feel like you got to be kidding. You think Tim Duncan would have had it, and surprisingly, you know, because there are guys wandering around like Rudy Gobert's got four, and I'm like, huh? Like Scooby, Ben Wallace got four, and Dwight Howard's got four, and some of those guys, and they were great at what they did, especially Ben Wallace, because Ben Wallace is one of those guys I could definitely say I got no questions with that at all. Dwight Howard, that's probably about one or two too many. I gave about two or three. I could see that. And Rudy Gobert, that's about three too many. But Tim Duncan not to have one is crazy, because what people fail to realize is with the Spurs, it wasn't just it was the defense. It's probably hard for you to fathom that, especially in the last post when they won that chip in 2014 and after Kawhi left. You probably can't, the last 5 years, you don't associate defense or anything with the Spurs like that. But when the peaks and primes, Duncan really was an off study of playing with Dave Robinson, and they really did traps really well. And he was incredible with his movement and strips and blocks. He gave you crazy games, you know. So I look at it and thinking like, yeah, Tim Duncan should have had a defensive player. I think, that's the amazing thing, because we're talking about a guy who I consider one of the five greatest players ever. I will debate Tim Duncan all day, all night. He never gets his due. He never gets his due. He really put it down, and he covered both sides of the ledge, and just one of the greatest to ever do it. So I think it's pretty criminal that he never got that. I really do. So, there are other players mentioned that of high quality, high tier, but I think it's like Tim Duncan. That's like a glaring omission. So, but anyway, there were other names that were mentioned. I mentioned Kareem. I mentioned LeBron. I mentioned Anthony Davis. There's some names mentioned, but to me, he's the one that comes to top for me as far as that go. Because I just look at him and think he should have clearly had it. Clearly, no doubt in my mind. But because I think Duncan, as I said before, he was my second favorite player behind Shaq in the early OOs, and he was that dude that the big fundamental. Shaq gave him the best name you could give anybody. There wasn't nothing he couldn't do. He was bad. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. Share the video if you like, and hit that membership, because when you do, requests like this come true. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, stay true. I'm out one time. And give Tim Duncan some shine. He never gets his due. I'm out.